What's up you guys, my name is Soshtvi. Welcome back to my channel. Today I have a very interesting video. We are doing a book haul. This is book haul number 2 on my channel. I've done one before. I'll link it down below if you want to know. That was only a couple of months ago, and within a couple of months I've already got a bunch of new books, which I'm super excited for. I've actually read a few of them already as well, but I just wanted to share you everything I've collected in the last few months. And yeah, that's about it, so let's get into it. So going in no particular order, the first one I want to talk about is one that I have a little bit of a bone to pick with. I had really been interested in this book for a very long time, finally ordered it on Amazon, and I realized a little too late that it's actually a pirated copy. It was A Murder in the Family by Kara Hunter. I didn't know that you could find pirated copies on Amazon until very recently, and it's a bummer. I wish I had known better. I wish I had checked it properly before. I don't know why. I got it and I kept it aside. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. So now I have a pirated copy of this. By the time I realized I got this, it was too late. I couldn't return it. So it is what it is. The text is janky a little bit. But inside everything seems fine, so hopefully my reading experience won't be bad whenever I do get to it. I hope to get to it this month, but we'll see. But anyway, to get to what the book is about, let me read it to you. Over here there's a little bit of like a piece of a newspaper that says, "It was a case that gripped the nation. Luke Ryder's murder has never been solved." In December 2003, Luke Ryder was found dead in the garden of the family home in London, leaving behind a wealthy older widow and 3 stepchildren. Nobody saw anything. Now secrets will be revealed live on camera. Years later, a group of experts re-examined the evidence on an infamous true crime show with shocking results. Does the team know more than they've been letting on, or does the truth lie closer to home? Can you solve the case before they do? The truth will blow your mind. So this book is written in a very interesting way. It's written through the investigation that they've done. So it's not written in regular story format. It's their investigation throughout. So the investigation files that they have, their interviews, newspaper clippings, all of that. That's how this book is written. And it's almost like you are trying to solve the murder with them, and you have all the evidence presented to you and you're trying to solve it with them. That's what I've heard it's like, and that's what the back suggests as well. So I'm really excited to get to it. I really wish I had a proper copy of this, but it is what it is. I'm still really excited to get to this book. The premise sounds so interesting. Like, the way it's written is just so fascinating, and I'm a huge fan of mixed media in books, so yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading this one. Next is a book that is one of the only 2 books I read in May actually, which is The Cousins by Karen M. McManus. I don't know why I haven't been able to read lately. I've been in a huge slump. Actually, I do know the reasons why. It's just I've touched on it a little bit in the reading vlog I put out recently. If you haven't seen it, I'll link it down below. I talked a little bit about the slump I've been in over there, and I feel like it's just been one thing over the other that's been piling up. Honestly, we just crossed the 6-month anniversary of me losing my dog, which has just been kind of hard on me. I've talked about it a little bit in my channel before, but I'm still coping and still grieving. So that's just been like really heavy on my mind. Couple that with everything that, honestly, like everything that's going on in the world right now, the things that are going on in Gaza have also been heavy on my mind, and it's honestly making me feel really helpless as well. I've tried to donate and create conversation and stuff like that, but just nothing ever feels enough. Couple that helpless feeling with my own personal life and my career and everything has just kind of been boiling down, and I've been feeling numb to everything. So I've just been in the worst like executive dysfunction phase ever. It has just been a huge month of doom scrolling. That's it. That's really all I've been doing, and watching Outer Banks. Too much to explain, but yeah, I have been in a huge slump. I was reading Yellow Face, which in the reading vlog, and I was like having a hard time like getting through it, even though it's a wonderful book. It's really good. It's just a me thing. I was not able to get through any book, and then I bought this book, and I figured this would help me get out of the slump because it's a YA mystery. This author I am already a huge fan of. She wrote the One of Us is Lying trilogy, and I absolutely love that trilogy. It's a 5-on-5 for me. I would highly recommend it. Please check it out if you can. I have a book talk about the 3rd book as well if you want to check it out, linked below. So I figured this book could pull me out of it because I really enjoy her writing and her books, and YA books are usually the perfect books to get you out of a reading slump, and this did. It honestly really worked. I read this in a day itself. What my views are about this book, I will not share in this video. I will do a wrap up, June wrap up. I'll include the 2 books I read in May in the June wrap up itself, and I'll talk about it more over there. But yeah, so this is a book that I got this month and done reading it as well. So stay tuned for what I think about this. Next, okay, a little bit of backstory here. I have read my fair share of classics growing up when I was in school, and I enjoyed quite a few of them as well. But I remember nothing about the classics I read. Somehow there is zero memory of what I actually felt about them. There's zero memory of like the plot and what I thought of them. And this year, a goal of mine in reading has been that I want to get back into reading those classics, rereading those classics, and reading just other classics that I never got to. So I was out book shopping and I found a copy of Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. This is the author. I'm really sorry, I can't pronounce it. I've heard a lot about this. I've heard Jack Edwards speak about it as well. And I've always been curious about it, and I saw this and I thought, wow, this is calling my name. 6 months into the year, it's finally time to start into my goal. So I picked up Rebecca. I never actually read Rebecca growing up. So this will be a new read for me. So I'm really interested to see what happens. This is a gothic classic, and it's a little difficult to describe what the book is about, so I'm going to read it to you. One of the most famous novels of the 20th century, a gothic tale of love, murder, and secrets, Rebecca has woven its way into the fabric of our culture with all the troubling power of myth or dream. The reader is taken into an isolated grey stone mansion on the windswept Cornish coast with these lines, as the second Mrs. Maxim de Winter recalls the terrible events that occurred as she began her new life as the young bride of a husband she scarcely knew. For there were phantoms of a time gone but not forgotten in every part of the vast house, a past devotedly preserved by Mrs. Danvers, the malevolent housekeeper. A suite, pristine and unspoiled, clothing laid out and ready to be worn, but not by any of the great house's current residents. Rebecca is the haunting story of a young girl consumed by love and the struggle to find her identity. Not much that you figure out by that, but you get the vibes. I've been really interested to read this, honestly, like really excited to read this. So yeah, that's another book I picked up this month. Next, I want to talk about a few books that I have already reviewed on my channel. I just wanted a chance to talk about them again. That's it. First is Powerful by Lauren Roberts. I just really want to talk about this because this is a novella to one of my favorite books that I've read this year, which is Powerless by Lauren Roberts. If you've been around BookTok, booktube, bookstagram, you've already probably heard about this book. So I won't spend too much time on it, except that it's a dystopian fantasy. It's YA. It's clean, it's very Hunger Games vibes, little bit of Harry Potter vibes as well. It's about this world where there are people with powers and without powers, and the ones without powers aren't allowed to really exist. And the main character that we're following is one who doesn't have powers, and she gets recruited into these games kind of trials, and it's enemies to lovers. The plot isn't anything that's like brand new for fantasy readers, but it's just so much fun. It's a vibe. You read that book purely for the vibes and the romance. I think this author writes romance like no other, honestly. And the setting is something I love. The characters I love. It has all the tropes that you could love, like dagger to the throat trope, nightmare trope, all of that good stuff as well. So this is the novella that comes after that book, and I really enjoyed this too. I liked it more than I thought I would because I usually don't care for novellas as much, but this one was really good, and the cover is so pretty, and I'm just so excited for the second book to come out, which is coming out in July. I don't know, really glad I got my hands on this. I spoke more about this in my wrap up for April. So I will link that down below and you can see what I thought about this a little bit more over there. I also have a full book talk dedicated to Powerless, so if you want to check that out, I'll link that down below as well. And another book that I've already talked about on my channel that I also got in April is The Reappearance of Rachel Price by Holly Jackson. Now, if you've been watching me for a while, you know Holly Jackson is one of my favorite authors. She wrote the Good Girls trilogy. The first book is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. Absolutely phenomenal book. It went viral on BookTok for a reason. It's one of the best YA murder mysteries I have read. and all three books are fantastic. So this is another book that the author wrote, which is a standalone. Read this already as well. Again, a reading vlog dedicated to this book. If you want to check that out, will be linked below. It's about this girl whose mom disappeared when she was 2 years old. Her mom's name was Rachel Price, and now 16 years later there's a team that's doing like a documentary about this disappearance because it was a very famous case. And in the midst of filming this documentary, Rachel Price reappears, and we're trying to figure out what really happened and if everything that this Rachel Price is telling us is true or not. So it's really again a compelling mystery. It's YA, you'll enjoy it. It's young adult again, so yeah, that's another book I picked up and I would recommend. The next book I want to talk about is very special to me purely because of the way I got it, and that is Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. One of my closest friends gifted this book to me, and she gifted this to me in the form of like blind date, as sort of like those blind date books. She wrote like a message on the book here, and she wrote down the tropes in this book, which are friends to lovers, dual POV, small town romance, sign language, emotional, slow burn, and healing. And then she said, can you guess the book? Which I did. And then she also wrote down 3 of her favorite quotes from this book, and it was just really sweet, really cute. I cut this out of the wrapping and I've put it in the book so I can always see it when I read the book. It was just so special to receive this. The fact that she went out of her way to do this, to write down the cute notes and everything and wrap it, and it was just like, it was just really cute. So that's why this book is super special to me. I haven't read it yet because I know that this book is emotional, and I'm not sure if I'm in a place to read an emotional book right now, but I really hope to get to it soon. It sounds like a really good book. It's a small town romance, friends to lovers, like I said. So yeah, I'm super excited to get to this book. Hopefully I get to it really soon, but we'll see. But yeah, Archer's Voice, if you like a nice little emotional romance, I've heard nothing but great things about this book, so check it out. Next, I want to quickly talk about 2 books that I got and read in April. The first of them being Betting on You by Lynn Painter. This is a young adult romance. It's sort of strangers to friends to lovers. It's really cute. I'm sure you've heard about Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter, and if you enjoyed that book, I highly recommend you pick this up because I personally believe that this book is even better. I've talked about this in a detailed video as well, which I'll link down below if you want to know this book properly, if you want to know my thoughts in detail. But this was just, it was such a cute book, and I read this on the beach and it was just perfect. I would highly recommend Betting on You. And another book that I discussed in detail in my April wrap-up is A Study in Drowning by Ava Reid. This was my first book by this author, and was also my first gothic dark academia book, which was super interesting. It's a gothic dark academia slash fantasy slash mystery. It's again young adult and clean. It's really good. It's about this girl who is studying in this architecture college, and she has this author that she is absolutely in love with, and he's a very famous author, and he passes away, and the home that he had needs to be renovated. There's a competition for people to apply to renovate this house, and she wins that competition, and then she goes to his house and starts investigating his life and the house that she's in. And there's another boy there from the literature college. There's a sort of mystery behind this author and the work that he's put out. So they're both trying to figure out what really is the deal behind it, and they're trying to figure out also what the deal is behind this house, because something about it is off. And it's just, there's a lot of topics to be covered in this. It's beautiful. It's a very atmospheric book, so I would highly recommend that you check this book out as well. Loved that I got the chance to read this. And the last 2 books I want to talk about are books that I got from a thrift store recently. The first one being Tales from the Cafe by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. This is the second book in the Before the Coffee Gets Cold series. I read that first book I think in March, and I really enjoyed it. It's very sweet. It's basically a collection of short stories that are woven together about this little cafe, which has a little bit of a time traveling aspect in it, and it surrounds the themes of like family and love and friendship and grief and loss, and these beautiful themes related to life and time. It's a very sweet, cozy read, and it gets pretty emotional at times as well. So I've been wanting to read the other books in the series as well, and I found the second book at a thrift store for really cheap, like 150 rupees, which which was like a steal for me. So I picked this up. And another book that I picked up, which is also the last book for this haul, is Eat, Pray, Love by Elizabeth Gilbert. I've seen the Eat, Pray, Love movie and I absolutely love that movie. It's about this woman who travels to 3 different places in the world to rediscover herself and her purpose in life. She goes to Italy and Indonesia, in Bali I think, and India. And I really enjoyed that movie back when I watched it. It was super filled with like a lot of like rediscovery, self rediscovery and self-esteem themes, and also just so much travel that I absolutely enjoy reading about and watching. So I found this at the thrift store randomly. It's in a very ratty state, obviously. Like it's old. The cover is like bad. Some of the pages are like very yellowed out, honestly, but I didn't mind because first of all I didn't know that it was based on a book, and I just felt like if the book is here, if the opportunity is here, why not? And it was really cheap as well, so I picked it up and hopefully I get to this soon as well. There is another book that I picked up which I have been trying to read and I haven't been able to get through, again purely because of my slump, not because it's a bad book, and that is The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. This is again another very popular book on BookTok. I have been trying to get through it. I've read this much. I haven't been able to, not because it's a bad book. I am enjoying it. It's just, again, once I close the book, I just never feel like reaching for it, purely because of my own mental state. But I hope to finish this. I think this I'll finish this week for sure. This is another Greek mythology retelling. It's about Patroclus and Achilles. So yeah, that's what this is. Hopefully I finish it soon. So those are all the books that I have been collecting so far. There's not a lot and I've read most of them anyway, but the ones that I haven't, I'm very excited to read them soon. Hopefully this month I get to a lot of books because I am in the mood to read. I'm just not able to get myself to actually pick up a book and read. But yeah, that's it for my book haul today. Let me know if you have read any of these books before, or what you think of them, or if there's any you look forward to reading, anything you bought recently. I don't know. Let's chat in the comments and motivate each other to read. Maybe you can motivate me to read again. But yeah, that's it for my book haul today. Thank you so much for watching. Like, share, subscribe and comment, and I'll see you guys in the next one.